Sneakers are comfortable, stylish, and also a big status symbol. Celebrities use them, rappers use them, and even world-class athletes use them. And because of that, some sneakers can get so expensive that they will cost you an arm and a leg. Now, if you are curious to know which sneakers I am talking about, stay tuned, because that's exactly what you are about to discover. You are watching the top 10 most expensive sneakers in the world. And in this video, I'm going to show you what are the top 10 most expensive sneakers in the world, how much do they cost, and also what makes them so expensive. But before we begin, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you like this type of content, also hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And without further ado, here are the top 10 most expensive sneakers in the world. Number 10. Nike Air Force 1 Entourage Undefeated Fukijama Gold. The Nike Air Force 1 is a classic sneaker model produced by Nike, and it is inspired by the presidential aircraft by the same name. And as such, it has a remarkable design with bold and aggressive contours and a unique attention-getting color combination that will draw all eyes upon you. However, the 10th most expensive sneaker in the world is not an ordinary Air Force 1, but instead one especially designed and produced by Nike and undefeated for the famous TV show Entourage. In case you don't know, Entourage is a comedy drama TV series that used to be very famous back in 2010. And because of that, Nike decided to create a sneaker model inspired by it. Now, the Nike Air Force 1 Entourage X Undefeated is part of an extremely limited edition, and only 100 pairs were ever produced. And no wonder this masterpiece was recently auctioned for a whopping $88,000 a pair, probably by someone who used to be a big fan of the show. Number 9. Air Jordan 12 OVO Drake Edition. The Air Jordan 12 OVO is designed and produced by Air Jordan, one of the biggest basketball shoes and clothing brands in the world. And simply put, it is one of the most beautiful Jordan sneakers ever produced, with its snow-white colors, slick contours, and golden-colored details. But even though it is part of an extremely limited edition, ordinary pairs of this model retail for only $225. However, what makes this one so special is that it was worn by none other than Drake, the world-famous Canadian rapper, and he gave it to a lucky fan after one of his performances. Little did this fan know that Drake's sneakers were extremely valuable and sought after, and he instantly started receiving tons of offers for them. And it was at that point that he decided to auction it online for a whopping $100,000. Needless to say, it was quickly snatched up by one of Drake's fans. Number 8. Air Jordan 12 Flu Game. If we are being honest with one another, there is nothing fancy or extraordinary about the Air Jordan 12. For instance, its red and black color combination is not remarkably unique, its contours are not common, and it is probably just as comfortable as any other ordinary Air Jordan. But what makes this one so special is that it was worn by none other than Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, in the last game of the 1997 NBA Finals, a game that has since become known as the Flu Game. For instance, the Chicago Bulls were tied 2-2 with the Utah Jazz in the NBA Finals, and the team who would win the last match would also win the NBA. The only problem was that Michael Jordan was feeling extremely sick, dehydrated, and having a severe fever. But Michael has never been one to come up with excuses, so even with all of those shortcomings, he still played and led his team to victory. Needless to say, he was absolutely drained after the game, but that didn't matter because the championship was more important. Well, it goes without saying that there is only one pair of the sneaker, and it used to be owned by a lucky man who asked Michael Jordan for it right after the game. But after more than 20 years, he decided to sell it for a whopping $104,000. Number 7. Buscemi 100mm Diamond Sneaker. This extremely luxurious sneaker was designed and produced by none other than John Buscemi, one of the most exclusive and upscale fashion designers in the world. And simply put, this is one of the most beautiful and extravagant sneakers in the world. First, because of its clean and slick design that sets itself apart from any other sneaker you've seen. And most importantly, because of its precious metal decoration. For instance, there are more than 6 ounces of 18-karat gold and 11.5 carats of diamond encrusted on the fine white leather of the sneaker. Truly jaw-dropping. Now, it comes as no surprise that the Buscemi 100mm diamond sneaker is part of an extremely limited edition, and each pair will retail for at least $132,000. However, since this is Buscemi's masterpiece, he will not be selling it online, and you will only be able to buy it at their new flagship store in the heart of New York City. Number 6. Game-worn Converse Fast Break. And the 6th most expensive pair of sneakers is the game-worn Converse Fast Break. Now, it may not seem like it, but this pair of sneakers is definitely a piece of basketball history. After all, Michael Jordan wore it on the 1984 Olympic Games final, which the U.S. played against Spain and won by a landslide, mostly because of his skills and talent. At the time, he was already a very brilliant player, but was far from being the greatest of all time. And that's probably why he gave his game-worn shoes to an 11-year-old kid without much afterthought. However, as time went on and Michael proved himself as an icon of the sport, the value of his game-worn shoes skyrocketed, and its lucky owner decided to auction it for a whopping $190,000. Granted, this pair of sneakers is full of weary marks and looks old and shaggy, but it still bears his autograph and is extremely valuable because of that. Number 5. Nike Waffle Racing Flamoon Shoe. Now, these sneakers are considered by those in the know to be one of the rarest and most sought-after sneakers in the world. And that's because it was designed by none other than Nike's co-founder, Bill Bowerman. Bill was a track and field coach way back in the 70s, and he produced only 12 pairs of this model with his athletes in mind. But little did he know that this model would be the one to make the Nike brand the big household name it is today. Now, even though this pair of Nike Waffle Racing Flamoon shoe looks old and weary, it has never been used before. And so Nike and sneakers collectors were fighting tooth and nail for it. Well, no wonder it has been sold at an online auction for a whopping $437,000 after an aggressive bidding war between the participants. Number 4. Nike Air Jordan 1 Game-Worn and Autographed by Michael Jordan. This is yet another pair of sneakers game-worn by Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time. But what makes this one different from all the others is that it was autographed by him after a game. Now, he used to autograph his sneakers quite often, but always using a ballpoint pen, which didn't last for long. However, this one he signed with a black permanent marker, and so his signature is still as clear as it has ever been. And because of that, this incredibly rare pair of sneakers were sold at an auction for a life-changing $560,000. Unfortunately, the lucky buyer of this autographed Air Jordan was not disclosed, so we may never know who he is. Number 3. Nike Air Jordan 1 Shattered Backboard. This pair of sneakers is of the same model as the one we've just talked about. However, its unique backstory is what makes it even more valuable and sought after. For instance, Michael Jordan traveled to Italy to play in a Nike-sponsored exhibition game way back in 1985. As is usual for Michael Jordan, he was playing way better than everyone else on the field, leading his team to a sure victory. And at one point during the game, he dunked so hard that the backboard glass shattered. Glass fell all over the place, hitting a few of his opponents, himself, and of course, his shoes. In fact, some of the glass is still encrusted on it. Now, this pair of sneakers is certainly part of the history of basketball, and no wonder they were sold for a whopping $615,000 at an auction. Number 2. Nike Yeezy 1 Grammy-Worn by Kanye West. The Nike Yeezy 1 was designed and produced by Nike, just like most other sneakers on our list, and they produced it only for Kanye West to wear on his 2008 Grammy presentation. Kanye loved this model because it fits perfectly with his style and personality, with its unique design, black fine leather material, and bold contours. Now, what's interesting about this Nike Yeezy 1 is that they were sold for a lot more than any Michael Jordan game-worn sneakers ever were, even though Kanye West is far from an iconic basketball player. For instance, it was sold at a private sale for more than $1.8 million, thus making it the first ever pair of sneakers to be sold for more than $1 million. Number 1. Solid Gold OVO X Air Jordan. And the most expensive sneaker in the world is the Solid Gold OVO X Air Jordan. Well, this pair of sneakers is probably the most impressive and breathtaking one in the world. And that's not even an exaggeration. First, because of its impeccable design that almost makes it look like a trophy from an important championship. And most importantly, because it is made of solid gold. Truly jaw-dropping. Well, as you can expect, this pair of sneakers is extremely expensive, and it was sold for a whopping $2 million, which is not even a lot of money if you consider that only its gold content is worth more than $1.5 million in today's gold prices. Now, the proud owner of this brilliant masterpiece is none other than Drake, the world-famous hip-hop star. And according to him, buying this stunning pair of sneakers was a dream come true, since he has always been a die-hard Air Jordan fan. Alright, and those were the top 10 most expensive sneakers in the world. As you can see, Michael Jordan is literally the sneakers god, and he is directly involved in more than half of the sneakers on our list. After all, he is the greatest basketball player of all time, and it comes as no surprise that everything he touches upon becomes valuable. And now I want to hear from you. If you had to choose, which one of these sneakers would you like to own? Let me know in the comment section down below. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, and until next time.